What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the TD Podcast. We are your hosts, Tony and Dak. And in today's episode, we're going to be breaking down all the stuff that's been going on in free agency and going into a whole bunch of fun stuff. So, kicking us off, we've got new home. Well, not kicking us off, but in this episode, we're talking about new homes for quarterbacks, final thoughts on the Max Crosby situation. But before we get to all that, we're going to talk about our favorite free agent signings and moves so far this offseason. We are now it's Friday, the 13th, so we're
Five?
on day 3 of officially.
Oh, official.
Official,
Yeah.
yeah. Because it officially went up on Wednesday. So at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Before we get too far into the episode, I'm going to apologize in advance if you can hear a whole bunch of wind going on in my background. It's a lot of wind right now where I'm at. So, kicking us off with the favorite free agent signings and moves. I'll start. I like Tua to the Falcons. When he got released officially from the Dolphins, I was not opposed to the Raiders bringing him in as the veteran for Fernando Mendoza, outside of the fact that he's a lefty. For those of you that are new here, I have an aversion to lefty quarterbacks, especially when they're short. When the Browns drafted Dylan Gabriel, didn't make much sense because he's a lefty. All the other quarterbacks are righty. Tua Tagovailoa, with his injury history, it did not make sense for the Dolphins to bring in righty quarterbacks because you have to flip the offense, right? The Falcons do not have to do that. The Falcons have Michael Pittman Jr., Michael Penix Jr., who is also a lefty quarterback. So to lefty and lefty, it's wonderful. They don't have to flip the offense left to right because of what I've already said. And it gives Michael Penix time to recover from his injury. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I know it was a leg injury. I
He
think
tore he tore his ACL again.
okay.
This is his third ACL tear since his sophomore year of college,
Yeah. So
which is kind of scary.
yeah, it's not awesome for
But
the Falcons in terms of durability at their quarterback position. Um,
essentially, though, I agree with you. Just like what Tua's going to be able to bring to the system this offseason.
mm-hmm,
He's going to be able to run the offense for when Penix gets back. You have a guy that is a lefty. You have a guy that has experience in the NFL.
mm-hmm,
And you got a newer system. Stefanski's their head coach now. You're
mm-hmm.
going to be able to run this system properly and not have to flip everything in the regular season. So I'm like you. I really like this
Yeah.
this move, not because of its Tua, but because he is a lefty.
Mm-hmm. And then my last point on that was getting Michael Penix, another veteran to learn from, especially one just from a different background and somebody who is younger also than Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins also pressed a lot to be a starter. I don't know what the tool response will be. He's already getting paid a lot from the Dolphins still, so he could just be very nonchalant about it, or he could be pressing to start as well. Who knows? But it should be a fun little competition and fun to see how the Falcons play out this year. So, yeah, that's my first free agent signing. Dak?
Dre Greenlaw, he's a Niner again, dude. This is my favorite. Seeing Dre back in the Niners gear is going to be fun. He's 1 year removed from the injury. He's got a full season. Let's put it that way. He's more than 2 years. Um, but what he's going to bring to this defense is going to be amazing. And Fred Warner is going to be able to play Fred Warner football because you don't have um, Bethune as the backup playing, the other 4-2-5 linebacker
Mm-hmm.
with you. You're gonna have your one of your best mates.
Mm-hmm.
And Fred were amazing together, but you also I'm blanking on his name, but we also have another really good linebacker that played well this year as well. So that defense is only going to get scarier. The return of Nick Bosa is going to be great. The return of Michael Williams is going to be great. And then Charvarius, or not Charvarius Ward, oh my God, Diamador Lenore is there. So he's going to eat it up. the defense, if can stay healthy, that's the biggest question.
Always, every year.
Bringing back Dre Greenlaw is easily my favorite move
Yeah.
of this offseason.
Uh, yeah, I'd say the only thing is now that he has an injury history, it's just It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out with all the injuries that you guys always have. And some people have said it'd be fun to see Joey Bosa in a Niners jersey. I think that would be
Yes,
fun.
I'm one of them.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun only because of having both Bosa brothers hurt at the same time. Would the jokes would write themselves, and I would be pushing those jokes as well. My second favorite signing is the Tyler Linderbaum signing. I haven't talked about it because I didn't want to be a Raiders homer in our last episode, but man, I'm so excited about this. The last time we had a truly good center was Rodney Hudson, and that was, I think, 2020. I was in like my freshman year of college, um, and that was about 2020. Tyler Linderbaum is an awesome fit in the scheme. He knows how to run block. He's really good at it, and he's effective in pass blocking as well. But on top of that, and most importantly, he knows how to organize the offensive line, which is something that takes off the plate of Fernando Mendoza, who is assumedly, that's not a word, who we assume is going to be the quarterback for the Raiders in
He will be
2026.
the quarterback for
Um,
the Raiders.
Last year, the Raiders did not have a center. They did not. Jordan Meredith was a guard turned center, and then they played. Uh, who else played center? Everybody but Jackson Powers Johnson played center. Stone Forsythe, I think, might have played center at one point. Alex Kappa is who it was. Alex Kappa and Jordan Meredith were both the centers last year. Neither of them are centers, and it was a crapshoot. The offensive line sucked. They were blocking the wrong players. Ashton Genty was hit behind the line all the time. That's not going to be a problem this year. We're actually going to look like a functioning football team and not like a little pee-wee football team with people just running around with their heads cut off, right? Which is what I'm most excited about. On top of that, he has a stellar health history in his, I think, either 4 or 5 year career. He's only missed 2 games. So that's awesome. Having a center that we're not going to have to worry about missing games, uh, not missing games, sticking uh, the lineman where he's supposed to be or where they're supposed to be, and truly protecting Fernando Mendoza and taking that off his plate and allowing him to focus on, okay, where's this defense going? Have I seen this before? And getting the ball to his guys is all that we need for Fernando this year. And I cannot wait for that to happen.
Run the rock, run the rock, run the rock.
Yeah.
And hey, run the rock
Mm-hmm.
because Fernando Mendoza's play action is really good. Played within his strengths. If we've seen anything from Kubiak, he loved to run the rock.
Mm-hmm.
With the Seahawks, even if it was 3rd and 19, he
Yep.
had a great running back in Kenneth Walker, who we might talk about later.
Yep.
Picking up 3rd and 19s. Ashton Genty can do the same thing.
Yep.
So I'm very excited for Fernando, being a huge IU fan, and hopefully everything can play out and work
Yeah.
there.
And I think the signing for Tyler Linderbaum not only helps Fernando, but Ashton Genty is going to actually play good football this year. And I already traded for him in Dynasty League, so I was prepared for that. And on top of that, the rest of the line should also play well, which means that whoever the pass catchers are for the Raiders are more than likely going to have better seasons too. Like Brock Bowers, who I also have in the Dynasty League. So I've been stocking up my guys for the Raiders. So it's going to be an
Probably why
exciting year.
he's gonna lose this year again. My second favorite move wasn't necessarily a favorite, but it was just like, hey, controversy, let's do this. We're gonna talk about it later, being Max Crosby, but Trey Hendrickson is a Raven. This is fun to me, not only because they got him for a lot less. You're not giving up two firsts.
That's what they got
He
a lot
does have
less
an
for.
injury history, but I'm excited for Trey. Okay, I could care less about anything else. He gets to go up against the Bengals twice a year and prove to them, hey, I'm still worth the money that I wanted, and now I get to wreck your offensive line that has been absolutely terrible over the last few years. Um, so yeah, I'm excited for Trey because I think he's gonna show up and show out and say, "Hey, sorry, Joe, but I'm getting you 3 times a year, if not 4."
Yeah, Trey Hendrickson has been destroying that offensive line since he joined the Bengals because he probably played them in practice as well. So we can't forget that. He probably knows what they're doing and how to beat them all the time. But it is funny, and we will dive into this later, so I won't really talk about it much right now. But it is quite the situation, and we'll be getting into it later. So I'll just leave it at that. My last signing that I liked, well, this is technically a trade, but they also signed him, is Michael Pittman Jr. The Colts, and we'll talk about this again later as well. And this is not me being a Colts hater. I get that rap a lot, and whatever. I guess it is what it is. But Michael Pittman Jr. and that trade was just stupid. You're going to trade Michael Pittman Jr. for and a seventh round pick for a sixth? Are you kidding me?
They had to make room.
The Raiders did that for Geno Smith, a 35-year-old quarterback who's coming off of his worst season since he was good again. Michael Pittman Jr. is still a gosh darn good receiver and has been through a lot of bad quarterbacks and has still been probably top 20 in the league, around there.
I think the thing with Pitt is, can he be a middle or down the field threat? He's just
He,
been a short yardage
and that's all
guy
he has to
his
do.
whole
He's got DK Metcalf on the other side. So
if
he
he
can
can stay
continue to do
healthy,
that.
if he can stay healthy and be that, I think it'll work out well. I think the money that he had on the books, the Colts didn't really want anymore. Given his injury history, you got to make room for Alec. But
That was also a terrible signing.
he's making more money than
$29
like,
million a year. He's
yeah,
making
like let's
$4
be
million
real.
less than Amon-Ra St. Brown. We could make a whole episode of like listing off different receivers that make around the same money as him or make less than him
I
that are
think we
better.
could easily do an episode where we name 25 wide receivers that are better than
I
Alec
don't know about
Pierce.
25. That might be a stretch, but it could be
No,
close. Like just thinking off the top of my head, both of the receivers for the Bengals are. But if we did such a thing, I would just deep in the rap of being a Colts hater. I'm not a Colts hater. I just don't like Chris Ballard, and I think you guys are in the same boat as me. I'm just not gonna agree with what he does because he's my GM. Because he's not. My GM makes good deals. Um, Going back to Michael Pittman Jr. and this signing and trade, um, in the last 3 seasons, he has 2,700 yards, 258 catches, and 14 touchdowns. Um, from Gardner Minshew, Anthony Richardson, Joe Flacco, and Daniel Jones being his quarterbacks. Um, not great, not a great list at all. Gardner Minshew's a backup, Anthony Richardson's a backup, Joe Flacco is a backup, and Daniel Jones, if it was up to me, would be a backup. Um, his 20 and going to the Steelers side of this, in 2025, their number 2 receiver. I'll let you take a guess, Dak. Who do you think had the second most receiving yards on the Steelers last year?
Darnell Washington.
Kenneth Murray. No, Kenneth Gainwell. That's his name.
Oh,
Yeah, Kenneth Gainwell had the second most receiving yards
man.
on the Steelers last year.
Calvin Austin was hurt, and he's gone now.
Yeah.
Just
So
signed with the
a
Jets.
Michael Pittman Jr. brings whoever this quarterback's going to be, because the Steelers also don't have a quarterback, a big boost. And his only problem, like we kind of mentioned, is injuries. He's only missed 9 games in the last 3 seasons, which is still like worth noting. But I would say that's more overstated than it should be. It just seems to happen in like the most inconvenient times, and it is a nagging issue, typically being his back. So the Steelers got an insanely good deal with getting Michael Pittman Jr. for
And
a
re-signed him.
sixth, yeah, and then re-signed him for I think the next 3 years. I think it was like 20 mil a year. Um, so getting him for a sixth round pick, getting back a seventh, and a number 2 receiver who could honestly, in my opinion, could be your one is phenomenal deal. So Mike McCarthy, I'm excited to see what you do with Michael Pittman Jr. Dak, who's your last guy,
Um,
so we can get to
my
wrapping up
last
first and
guy
10.
is Romeo Dobbs. If you listen to the episode on Monday or whenever it came out on
It was
Tuesday,
Monday.
um,
No,
you
it
would
was
have
Tuesday.
heard me say that Romeo Dobbs would be a Patriot. Romeo Dobbs is a Patriot.
You called it.
I just like the fit here. I think another guy that's trying to prove that, hey, I am a number one receiver, just because of the crowded receiving room that I've been in, a lot hasn't really given me the opportunity, and that's kind of what Vrabel has proved, that he wants and can move these guys to. I think Drake May is getting a true wide receiver one, and a guy that's going to help out the rest of the receiving room
The West did receiver
there.
one.
And you're moving out a Stephon Diggs who could have been seen as a toxic environment off the field. And you're moving on to a guy that's just nothing but football, wears a Guardian cap, and just cares about football. And
Yeah.
I think he's going to work out well there. Um, and again, I called my shot.
hmm
Bang.
Love to
Way to
see a
go.
guy who cares about his noggin. It's a great,
Brandon,
great,
I couldn't say the same.
great play there. Before we finish out our first and 10, Dak wanted to throw out a free agent that is still unsigned and give them a location. I couldn't think of one, so I figured I wouldn't waste anybody's time with throwing mud at a wall. But Dak had one, so Dak, go
Gonna
ahead.
try and go 2 for 2 here. David Njoku will end up with the Washington Commanders. He is a free agent. I really like Harold Fannin there with the Browns, a young guy.
Mm-hmm.
Njoku, if he can end up somewhere that utilized the tight end a lot. Zach Ertz was utilized a lot there in that offense last
Yeah.
year, especially when Marcus Mariota was playing. Um, if Jaden Daniels can stay healthy, and you bring in a guy like David Njoku, who again Zach Ertz is a free agent and also tore his ACL. Bringing a guy like Njoku, red zone offense, he's a guy that can do wonders there. David Njoku, I hope you're a Washington Commander.
Yeah. That's a great transition into um, what our next part is. So we're getting into our red zone section of our pod, and that's new QB homes and QBs waiting to be homed or find a new one. Um, in the last couple of days, Tua has been released, Kyler has been released, Geno Smith has been traded, Daniel Jones has been re-signed, and Malik Willis has found a new home as well in Miami. So we're going to be breaking down and talking about some of those homes. We've already talked about Tua, so let's just jump into Kyler. Dak, what are your thoughts on Kyler? If you don't have any, I have plenty.
So my thoughts on Kyler is I think he took a vet minimum, which is great, because it's going to help out the rest of the room there. But I think Kyler can really help Justin Jefferson.
Mm,
And I think Justin Jefferson can really help Kyler. The problem is I don't think the Vikings will go to it early.
mm,
I think this is JJ's job.
mm.
I think Kyler is just there as a safety valve. Kind of something happens given his injury history. Now, if it does turn into a situation like what happened last year with the Colts with Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, where Daniel Jones just ultimately takes over because he can lead the huddle better, he can provide better for the team. So be it. But I don't think that the Vikings are ready to give up on JJ, and I don't think that the rest of the team is ready to give up on JJ. But I like the move. Kyler Murray said that he stayed in contact with oh goodness gracious, I can't even think of his name right now. The Vikings head coach.
Oh,
Um,
not Kevin O'Connell.
O'Connell.
Yeah.
O'Connell. Yeah. Said he stayed in contact with O'Connell since um, the scouting combine in
Mm,
2019. So that
hmm
is 7 years of staying in continuous contact. So clearly there is a relationship there
Yeah.
that can be built upon. It would not surprise me if Kyler starts by week 8 and it starts off the rest of the season and they shut down JJ because of another injury.
Yeah. I think Kyler's a fun signing. It could be a lot like the Sam Darnold situation where you don't expect much and you just get a lot. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know how Kyler plays. I've seen a couple of games of his. I know he likes to run the ball and he's a darn good runner as well. So it'll be interesting to see if Kevin O'Connell incorporates that into their scheme when he plays, because he's going to play at some point in this season, whether it be because J.J. McCarthy's hurt or because Kyler Murray just gets the bump. But I also think he's a floor raiser. I don't think that he's going to hurt the Vikings as a quarterback. We've seen plenty of uh, bad quarterbacks just hurt teams, and I don't think Kyler Murray is going to be that, especially with J.J. McCarthy being the other guy in the room. And it's going to be interesting to see how Kyler fits the scheme. I'm also not going to sit here and lie to you and act like I know a lot about Kevin O'Connell's scheme, but I do know that he is a darn good offensive mind, and it'll be fun to see
He's a quarterback whisperer.
what he does. Yeah. I mean, he
He's a quarterback whisperer.
revitalized Sam Darnold's career. Um,
And
so,
if we're being honest, Daniel Jones' career, Daniel gives a lot of credit to Kevin O'Connell
is he
for those
really?
8 weeks that he was there. Yeah.
I guess he was
Um,
there for a minute, too.
it's um, Shanahan and O'Connell are the two quarterbacks. If you want to revive your career and learn how to be a quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
go to their systems and they're going to teach you everything. Sam credits a lot of San Francisco for learning how Sam got both of both worlds.
Mm-hmm. The
And look
Kyles,
what he's done.
Kyle and Kevin.
Look what he's doing.
Yeah.
So, and Max now getting that, he could possibly do that next offseason, Mac Jones,
Oh, I heard Max. I was like,
next
who's
year.
Max? Yeah.
So he's a quarterback whisperer, and if he can turn Kyler's career around, even if Kyler doesn't play,
Mm-hmm.
and then sits out, hey, I'm going to learn, sit back and
Yeah.
learn how to watch film. Kyler may not know how to watch film. And if you think about they put that in his contract, oh, you need to watch film. But what if Kyler doesn't know how to watch film? He's relied on his athleticism the whole year. I mean, he's been a great athlete at both sports.
Yeah.
What if he's not been able to be taught how to watch film? Granted, this is a
That's something that
wild
Caleb
take.
Williams has talked about, too.
Like, this is a wild take, but if you get in a quarterback system that teaches you how to watch film, how to break
Mm-hmm.
stuff down, and learn,
A real coach.
a real coach, Kyler could end up on a team next year that could revive his career and
Mm-hmm.
possibly have a playoff run. He's a good quarterback. He's
Yeah.
very athletic,
He's just short.
but he's got to have him wanting it,
Yeah.
and I guess that's been the problem.
Yeah. I'll kick us off with our next guy, Geno Smith. Um, I'll tell you right now, he's great for the New York Jets tank next year. No, on a on a real note,
Gino
um,
Gino goes back to back
to
with
back-to-back first overall picks. Could you
first
imagine?
overall picks.
Oh man, the memes would
They're
write
going. They're starting.
themselves.
They're starting to right back now, Gino. They're
Yeah.
starting to right back.
It'll be interesting because Geno is going to have a better offensive line and weapons this year. Because Garrett Wilson's better than Trey Tucker. Adonai Mitchell is probably better. Well, Tyler Lockett was the wide receiver too. Let's be real, and Adonai Mitchell's better than Tyler Lockett. And Brees Hall had a better season than Ashton Genty last year, although it was very there. They're very balanced. But it's going to be a true test for Geno. Like, do you actually suck at football now, or was it just like you couldn't figure out what the heck was going on in Las Vegas? That is the kind of slack that I'll give him. But last year he sucked. He sucked so bad. He was so bad at watching. It was so bad.
You know about the Epstein files.
What?
Gino was on the Epstein files, and I mentioned it before.
Oh yeah, I forgot. It's because I don't
And
care. Geno Smith sucks at football. He might suck at stuff in life off the field too, but right now all I care about is football.
yeah, but what if he was just doing that because, he was scared. He
Sucking at
just wasn't
football because he
focused.
was scared?
He wasn't focused.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't care about that's a whole other situation. That's a bunch of stupid crap. But right now,
He's not an incriminating matter.
the
So he's
stupid crap
he's
that he
safe.
did that matters to me right now and affected me is sucking terribly at quarterback for the Raiders. Now, I never thought I'd see the day where he's back in a Jets uniform, but because he is, it's very similar outside of like situationally. Well, no, it's actually a very similar situation because the Jets organization is also a dumpster fire. The head coach is a toss-up if he survives the end of this year. Frank Reich is their offensive coordinator, which is weird. And If I'm not mistaken, their owner is also kind of a cornball, unless I'm thinking about the Bills, which is very
No,
possible.
no, they're both
And
cornballs.
they're also in a mildly difficult division with the Bills and the Patriots, but
Patriots are
also
back.
not the Cardinals, geez, the Dolphins could also be difference makers a little bit this year with Malik Willis. It'll be
I think they
interesting to
can
see
win
what they
6
do.
games. I
Yeah,
think they can win six games,
yeah.
5 or 6 games, and, it's
Two of them being the Jets.
yeah, like,
I think
Troy Aikman's down there helping running the show,
that's
like,
also true.
they're not gonna be wanting to lose games.
Yeah,
Like, it's not gonna be a, "Oh, let's just do what we gotta do to make some money, guys."
yeah.
No, they're competitors.
Which is
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I don't know for sure. Let me make my point and then I'll look it up. But um, it'll be interesting to see how Jeff Halfley revitalizes the Dolphins because what? Who just got signed?
Breaking news, Packers left tackle Rasheed Walker reaches agreement with the Carolina
I'm
Panthers.
glad I didn't talk about it because I would have been throwing mud at a wall. That's interesting. But back to the Geno Smith and their division stuff. It'll be interesting to see how Jeff Halfley revitalizes the Dolphins. I think last year could have just been a case of Mike McDaniel just being tired. He looked tired, and now he just gets back
Mm.
to running the offense. Um, whereas Malik Willis is excited and being able to do all the things that he wants to do, like start. Um, whereas Geno Smith also looked tired. So does the Jets revitalize his desire to play football, or does he just continue to go there as a skeleton and continue the pity party that has been New York Jets for a hot minute? It'll be interesting to see. I would anticipate them
Skeletons
not
in the
doing a whole
closet.
lot, but
1 year deal to the Panthers. Bryce Young's got some help on that O line.
yeah, it's interesting.
Daniel Jones is our next
Hmm.
quarterback. He's not
Yeah,
necessarily in a new home, in the same home. 2 year, $44 million is, I believe, what he's getting.
44 a
Um,
year,
that's
insane.
crazy, but I think they're a firm believer in that 8-2 start, which is crazy because they didn't really play anybody. They did, but they didn't. We'll
Which
see.
hold
We'll
on,
see.
hold on a second here, because if I remember correctly, there was somebody who was all over the Colts' success early last season, and his name certainly didn't start with a T, um, but it did start with a D. It was one half of this podcast, and he was talking about, oh, the Super Bowl going back to 2006 and how they started this season and how this, that, and the
Well,
other, and buying into Daniel Jones and buying into Jonathan
I'm bought.
Taylor and
I'm bought in. I'm bought in on Shane. Given the injury,
you're buying
I
in.
don't know.
Hold on, I'll let you finish
I don't.
your.
I don't know what Daniel Jones is going to be like again because the last time he came off an injury, it didn't end well for him. Can he become the quarterback again where he doesn't look scared? He's not afraid to take off and run. What can Daniel Jones do? I'm not going to sit here and say Daniel Jones is a bad quarterback or he's a bottom 5 quarterback in the league. I
I'll
think
say it.
he's a
I'll say it
top
for you.
15. I think he's a top 15 quarterback in the NFL
I
when
lost
he's
my note.
playing the way he was playing last year. The Colts offense was looking really good. Their whole team was looking really good in that 8-2. They played some decent teams, they played some bad teams. They beat the Broncos. Let's be honest, the Colts team was a 50-plus yard field goal away from beating the Seattle Seahawks with Phillip Rivers. So, can Daniel Jones take them over the hump? I don't know. I don't know if $44 million is worth Daniel Jones, but because of the salary cap being raised 25 million, there's some money to be thrown around.
Yeah, so I'll give my take on this now, and I'll answer your question of if he's going to be worth it. The answer is no, and he's also not going to go back to being a good quarterback, quote unquote, because I don't think he's a good quarterback. I've been all over this since last year. You're not going to convince me that Daniel Jones is that guy. Same with Sam Darnold. I'm not sold on Sam Darnold yet either.
Sam just
Um,
won a Super Bowl.
yeah, but
That
that
defense
defense
won
was
Super
also
Bowl.
disgusting, right? Eli Manning beat Tom Brady twice, but people still give the defense the credit. So just because Sam Darnold won a Super Bowl does not mean that he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Now back to Daniel Jones and the Colts organization. Chris Ballard did an all-time sell job this year in the free agency to kick it off. Didn't get Trey Hendrickson. Is now paying Alec
He was
Pierce.
going to get Dre. He was going to get Trey,
Yeah,
but then the Ravens canceled the deal, and then Ravens got him.
yeah.
Trey
That's
was about to sign
I'm getting
with the
there.
Colts.
I'm getting there. You sit there and you listen, and let me drop
Just saying.
some knowledge here. Trey Hendrickson whiffed. Alec Pierce overpaid. Daniel Jones overpaid. Chris Ballard should not be your guys' GM right now. This is I'll set up a therapy couch and you guys can sit on it for an episode if you need to, because you guys should have got rid of him last year, and you saying that you trust in Shane Steichen is nuts because he sold the bag so hard on developing Anthony Richardson, which resulted in him sitting on the sideline asking to be off, and now we're in the situation where we are now. They drafted him number 4 one year, whatever year that was. Yeah. They drafted a quarterback number 4. And instead of really building around him and setting him up for success, he gets benched, started. Pathetic. It's not the way you want things to go. Yes, he got hurt. I will give him that. But after that, it was the bench start situation. Terrible. So Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard are not and should not be your guys' head coach and GM this year. Now let's get back to Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones ruptured his Achilles. We have history has proven that quarterbacks who rupture their Achilles probably are not going to be good their first year back. Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins. Yes, they were both older, but they didn't rely on their mobility. Daniel Jones does. Well, did. Let's see if he's mobile after this. But we saw before that ruptured Achilles, him start to fall off. Yeah, he broke something in his leg, but that's his fault for playing. If you're going to go out there and play with a broken leg, that's on you, and I'm going to hold it against you. Unless you win and show out that you can still play effective football. He could not. That's when the Colts started losing. Outside of just that, again, going back to Trey Hendrickson, you cannot tell me that after all these years of the Colts not spending money, they're going to spend money on a receiver who would probably be a number 2 on a lot of teams, give him $29 million a year, and then overpay Daniel Jones, who would not be a starter for a lot of teams, and then miss out on Trey Hendrickson. All-time sell job from Chris Ballard. He should have had Trey Hendrickson in the building before that trade was ever canceled. They lost out on. They don't have Kwity Paye anymore. They traded Michael Pittman Jr. for a bag of chips. The Colts.
They got Latu.
I mean, sure, but you know who'd go great across from him? Trey Hendrickson. But now they don't have him. They all they have to bank on is Latu progressing. Because DeForest Buckner is old now. He was hurt last year. Grover Stewart is not a pass rusher. He's a defensive tackle. They also traded out Zaire Franklin. Listen, maybe I am a Colts hater. And you know what? You guys did it to yourselves. Because I want to see this team succeed because I live in the state that watches the Colts and loves the Colts. But gosh darn it, you guys are sucking it up right now. Because the Titans brought in a lot of good players. The Jags are on the up and up. And the Texans are even doing things. But the Colts, what are you guys doing? Nothing. You're sucking your thumb at the kids' table. And it's annoying. Because I want the Colts to be good just as much as anybody else. But instead, you're not. You're sitting there wishing you had Trey Hendrickson, wishing you had a real quarterback. You guys could have gotten Kyler Murray. But no. You just sat there and signed Daniel Jones, who's in a boot and crutches.
They are running it back next year.
And let's not forget, they don't have their 2 first-round picks the next 2 years. You guys could have started Riley Leonard this year and drafted Arch Manning. You know what you did instead? You traded 2 first-round picks for a cornerback
but
that's not even top 5.
Shane and Chris are not in a position to be able to tank. Okay, they're not in position. They have to run
They
it back from
shouldn't
next
have
year
been
because
the GM and head coach to start with. They should have been fired at the end of last season
yes, but
because
bringing
they
everybody in and
sucked.
not running away from what they did last year is proving to Carly that, hey, we're going to run it back. And essentially, if we don't do it, then you can fire us next year.
Yeah,
But because if they were to run away from what they did last year, it would kind of show that, hey, like maybe we do suck, maybe we aren't good. But them doing and running it back essentially from what they had last year is essentially saying, hey, I think we have something here. Let's run it back, see how we do, and then if not, then you can fire us.
it
And that's why
should
they got another year.
it shouldn't have come down to Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard making a decision. Carly Ursay should have been like, "You guys have failed so poorly. I'm going to make the executive decision and get you guys the heck out of here before you guys dig us a deeper grave." Because they already sold the future. They don't have a head. They don't have a quarterback for the future. They don't really have a defense at this point in time. Because
Yeah, they
again,
do. Yeah,
again,
they
it's
do.
old.
Their secondary is the best, one of the best secondaries in football.
Yeah, but you know what helps a good secondary? A great defensive line. You know what you don't have? A great defensive line.
You got to remember their second round pick was all of hurt last year.
Their front seven is hurting right now, and that secondary that's not going to help the secondary. And even
Let's see
then,
if they can hit on the
even what you're
draft.
saying about that secondary, the Colts. I remember, just like Pepperidge Farms remembers. Colts fans were complaining about that defense in the final stretch of that last season,
Because they were all hurt. Sauce Gardner was not playing.
and he's not going to play starting
Majority.
this year either.
Hey, well,
Did
he'll
what?
be. He'll
He
be.
tore his
He'll
ACL
be.
or
No, he
Achilles.
didn't.
What did
No,
he
he
do?
didn't.
He hurt his leg,
He strained it. He strained it.
and he was out for the whole year.
No, but he was in and out of coming in and out because he was trying to play on it instead of just sitting out because he was getting. The Colts gave up 2 firsts. He had to play. You also got to think Charvarius Ward was contemplating retirement because he got a concussion again.
Yeah.
So
So your
from his
two
own
two
player.
corners were contemplating retirement and were on and off the field. Oh, and your best one that you traded 2 first-round picks for is Deion Sanders Light because he doesn't tackle. So, Colts fans, I feel for you. I will put on the gloves to just say what you guys wish you could say because I'll say it because I'm not a fan of the Colts. And if I'm labeled a Colts hater, then so be it. It's nothing against Colts fans. I understand. But I want better for the Colts. And I want better for you. I'm not a hater. I just hate Chris Ballard. I think he sucks.
Bro's a whole therapist right now.
Yeah.
He's
Okay, now let's get to the quarterbacks that actually matter. Malik Willis is going to be fun. He's going to be a fun quarterback to see in the Dolphins system. I think he could be what I thought Justin Fields and Breece Hall were going to be last year. I thought they were going to be fun to watch, electric with the read option possibility. And him slinging the rock around to Jalen Waddle is also going to be entertaining. Off the top of my head, I don't know who the other Dolphins receivers are. I'm not going to lie to you. But Jalen Waddle is an effective receiver, really good when he has a quarterback. And giving Malik Willis this opportunity is going to be fun. And I don't think he's just going to – I think he's going to leave it all out on the field too because he's been waiting 2 or 3 seasons to start again. So I don't think you're going to have a guy scared to play football. I think you're going to have a guy that's going out there and leaving it all out on the field and really proving that he deserves this opportunity or that he's just not that guy. He's the guy that fell to the 3rd round for a reason. And, yeah, it's going to be an interesting season for the Dolphins. But, yeah, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? What are your thinks? Jeez.
I don't know. I haven't seen enough from Malik Willis to give me the hey. Like, and he's not in a system that has produced quarterbacks outside of, that have done well. We don't necessarily know that
There we go.
who's the Green Bay McVay, right?
What?
No, not McVay. No.
Mike, Mike, whatever the heck. Mike, something. Hold on. Give me a second.
His
I'll remember.
brother. Anyways, so we don't necessarily know if he can produce quarterbacks
Mike
like
LaFleur.
that.
Matt LaFleur.
Matt LaFleur.
Matt
Matt
LaFleur.
LaFleur.
Mike is his
Mike
brother.
is now the
Head
is
coach
now
of
the
the
Cardinals head
Cardinals.
coach.
Yep.
we don't necessarily know if he can produce quarterbacks like this. It could be the first test, but it's not like a Shanahan or an O'Connell where they're like, "Hey, we can produce these backups that can go play somewhere else." Malik was drafted by the Titans. They gave up on him, moved him. He's played decently,
With the
but when no
Packers.
one has film on you, I hope you can play decently. When no one's taking away your
Mm,
options, I hope so. That's why Tua had a good, successful year, 1 year,
mm.
because they didn't know what he was going to do. And then you take away Tua's first option, and he looks like Deshaun Kaiser. Like,
Rough.
I, I don't know. I don't think there's enough here for me to say.
Yeah. So let's just get to the other guys, the guys that are still waiting on a home. This will be more brief than the guys that we know because we're just throwing spaghetti at a wall, and not mud. We're throwing spaghetti. So we got Kirk Cousins, Mac Jones, Aaron Rodgers, and Anthony Richardson. Um, Jimmy Garoppolo is also a free agent, but he's not going to start on a football team this year. Anthony Richardson is at least fun, so I threw him in here. Kirk Cousins. Um, I think he could be the guy that the Raiders bring in as a vet. That's what's rumored right now, and honestly, I wouldn't hate it. It's a fun QB friendly scheme with Clint, so it'd be fun to see him and having him behind or in front of Fernando, and showing him the ropes really because Kirk's been around. Would just be fun. And Kirk's also got a somewhat similar play style to Fernando in terms of being a tall guy who doesn't really rely on mobility. So just being able to sit behind him for a little
Fernando
bit.
can run though.
Yeah, I said similar. Um, like Fernando would rather be a pocket guy than try to run. Like he's like Baker. Baker will run, but he shouldn't. Fernando will run, and it's not as painful to watch, but you'd still prefer him not to, just because you don't want your guy hurt. He's not a Lamar. He's not a Malik Willis. So
He's an
that's my
Andrew
thoughts on
Luck.
Kirk Cousins. Yeah, well, yeah. He's That's my thoughts on Kirk Cousins. I wouldn't be surprised if he was the Raiders vet for Ian.
I I was hoping he'd go back to Minnesota before
Mm,
Kyler was
yeah,
signed.
that makes sense too.
And maybe Kyler went to the Colts. But Kirk now, there's not too many places that he can go that would give him an opportunity to start. Um, Clearly the
Colts.
Browns. Um,
So go to the
you're
Colts.
not gonna go to the Browns. You're not gonna go to Cincinnati. You're not gonna go to the Ravens. Um,
Pittsburgh. He
yeah, but
that's
it's
that's more enticing to
what
me
is
than
Aaron
Aaron
Rodgers?
Rodgers.
What is Aaron Rodgers going to do?
I
Aaron Rodgers controls the reins. He's coming back. Let's be
I
honest. He would have
yeah.
already
I
announced it.
letting
Um,
having your future lay in the hands of Aaron Rodgers is a game that I would never play. Because that man does whatever he wants and he laughs at you while he waits to make a decision. Crazy.
yeah, he's
But
kind of a diva. But yeah, I don't know. There's not too many spots. I mean, same thing with AR. There's not
mm-hmm.
very many spots now that AR has an opportunity to go and be a backup that can potentially start.
See,
He's a project guy, and now that Minnesota has Kyler, you're not going to bring in AR. You're not going to trade for AR.
he
I
got
think
released.
maybe who
Anthony Richardson. You don't have to trade for him.
when AR did not get released.
Mm-hmm.
He has not been released.
Might not officially been released, but they were going to release him. If I could spell release.
No, he's
He's not
not
yet
been
released.
released. They won't release him.
It could be a situation where it's like Geno Smith, where they're waiting on somebody to trade for him, but at the end of the
He,
day,
I
they're going to
think,
release him.
I think now with AR, it's okay, who's a quarterback friendly coach that I can learn from? And if Malik does well, maybe he ends up in Green Bay. And with Jordan Love's injury history, maybe he ends up there.
Hmm.
Um, maybe he ends up, um, maybe he ends up in Arizona.
Um,
Um,
so the reason I added Anthony Richardson to this list, even though he might not start this year, is because he could be a Malik Willis, a Sam Darnold. He could be one of those guys. And a spot that I think could be fun is San Francisco. Your guy Kyle Shanahan, as you said earlier, is a QB whisperer, and Mac Jones raised his stock, trade stock.
They're not trading Mac. They won't trade Mac, though. They've already said they wouldn't trade him until
But hear
the
me out.
sometime throughout the year.
Hear me out though. They trade Mac Jones for Anthony Richardson and a pick. Are you going to say no to that? You're going to get a young quarterback with a rocket launcher of an arm behind with Kyle Shanahan, with Brock Purdy, who has had injury history, and the Colts get their
Yeah, but
starter until Daniel Jones is safe, or they keep Mac Jones as their starter, even extended that,
and
and then
The
the
Colts.
Colts
I
can
mean, the
trade
Colts are
Mac
just in the
Jones.
same boat. I mean, the Colts are just continuous in the same boat. But I don't think Carly's going to allow Shane or um Chris to do anything else with quarterback. Like
But
they've been doing so
who do
much
they
with
start
quarterback.
week one?
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones is going to be starting. He's
Yes,
going
he
to be
will.
hurt.
He's going to be back. No, he's not. He will be back by training camp.
If you say so.
Daniel Jones will be back by training camp. And will be back. He'll get some reps in preseason. He's probably not going to play much in preseason. But then he'll be the week one starter.
Expected return. Oh. His expected return is for the start of the 2026 regular season and potentially by training camp following a December 2025 torn Achilles. Aiming to be 100% healthy by week one. But it's just crazy to me that two guys with hot seats are going to be putting their trust in a quarterback who just popped his Achilles.
They have to. They have to.
Last guy we're going to talk about is Aaron Rodgers. I've already talked about
Yeah.
him being a diva, and it
He'll
really,
sign with the. He's gonna sign there. Mike McCarthy's his old head coach.
yeah.
He's coming back. He's liking football again. He'll be okay. He'll be back now that they just signed Pitt. The the thing that scares me though is what's gonna happen with Will Howard.
Hmm.
Is he gonna be the project quarterback or is he just gonna be a backup and have to sit around and
Could
wait?
they be a Ty Simpson team?
No.
It'd be fun,
You draft. They're not going to make the Cleveland Browns mistake. The Cleveland Browns will turn around and draft Ty Simpson if he falls to the third round.
maybe. Well, I was saying the first, but anyways. Our so getting out of our red zone, our extra point, which typically will be hot takes, but we've got some extra points to just talk about some other things. Try to keep this fairly quick, because we're getting to a longer episode. But that's what happens when you have a rant about the Colts and you're a Colts hater, apparently. Um, so for today's extra point, we're going to be wrapping up what the heck happened with Max Crosby. I dropped the news on TikTok and YouTube Shorts that Max Crosby's deal fell through because he failed a physical. Hence why I'm wearing the jersey again. In that YouTube short, I said this will be the last time I wear this jersey, and then here we are again. That he's a Raider again. Now,
He said he will be a Raider this year as
for
well.
how long is up in the air, but at the moment he's a Raider, and that's what matters. My final thoughts on the situation are the Ravens are a bunch of bums. Eric DeCosta and the rest of the Ravens organization are number two on my I hope you suck this year list. Um, and to not totally dunk on Trey Hendrickson, Max Crosby is 110% a better player than you are, or he is. And just because you traded two firsts, I think, or backed out on two firsts is crazy. Um, what I think on the situation is that Eric DeCosta got cold feet. Even in his press conference, he didn't say outright that it was because of the medicals. Um, and they were reportedly trying to bring together Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson. You're full of crap. I don't believe that for a second. A lot of people are saying that it was because
Because
Trey Hendrickson's
they got a
price was
better
going
deal.
down and whatever. Yeah, They got a better deal.
They got a better deal. They didn't have to give up 2 firsts, and
If,
you can continuously build around, and now, you don't have to give up your future for
but
something, and you can actually build.
here's the thing, though. If you got a better deal on Trey Hendrickson and you wanted to bring Max Crosby together, those two together, would that not be the perfect opportunity? You're
No.
bringing in Trey Hendrickson for less money. Max Crosby didn't want a new deal because he just got one. So what you do is you have Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby, and then you ship off the 14th overall pick for this year. But next year in 2027, where you hope that you're drafting at
That's
number
too much
32, it
money.
doesn't really matter.
That's too much money for a defensive line,
I think the real
in the
reason they
Ravens
didn't do
situation.
that is because they lost out on Tyler Linderbaum and so many other guys as well, and they didn't expect that.
It's They did not expect it to be in the situation they are. You can't throw that much money on your D line, and you're maybe going to be mediocre next year. You just can't. You
Yeah.
can't throw that much money. I mean, what Max Cross is making 45 plus million,
No, not even close. He's,
60.
he's making 35 and a half million a year.
That's still a lot. And Trey, what signed what for 16?
28 million a year.
Yeah, you're not going to have
But Max
60
Crosby's also
million,
younger and better.
but you're not going to have 60 million to your edge rushers and the rest of your team just be mediocre. I mean, they got to fix that offense. Let's be honest. There's no true wide receiver there. Zay
Zay
Flowers, yeah,
Flowers,
but
Rashad Bateman's
but he's
decent.
not. But they got to fix that offense. They got to
They,
fix
they,
what's going on with that defense. You can't just throw that much money at 2 edge rushers and hope that it fixes everything. And it's clearly not. Todd Munkin is he's a defensive minded, right?
Todd
Not
Munkin's
not
not
Todd
even there.
Munkin.
You're talking about Jesse Minter.
Who?
And Jesse Minter would
Yeah,
have been awesome to have because you've seen, like this year, a defensive heavy team win the Super Bowl. The Eric DeCosta dropped the ball. That's really what it comes down to. I hear what you're saying about that's a lot of money on your defensive line, but I do not care.
it's not
That,
a recipe for success though. I mean, look what the Steelers did. They had the highest paid defense last year, and it wasn't even a top 5 defense.
but that's not. It's not really the same situation because you have Jesse Minter, who is one of the best defensive minds in the league right now, with
Let's be
Kyle
honest. Isn't
Hamilton. It's not like they're just sitting around and have a good defensive line. They also have Kyle Hamilton. They also have Patrick Queen. They have a star on every level. They would have had two
Patrick
stars
Queen's
on their
not
defensive
there?
line.
Patrick
Roquan
Queen is a
Smith,
Steeler.
Mark Roquan Smith. Sorry.
Roquan Smith is no longer there either, I believe. He's
What?
out. He's out. I think he signed with Green Bay.
No, he's a Packer. No, he's a Raven. Roquan Smith is still on the Ravens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who was the other guy I said? My brain's Patrick Queen.
Patrick Queen, he's a Steeler.
Patrick Queen is a Steeler, yeah. But wait, yeah. But Roquan, they had at least one star on every level. Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith, Trey Hendrickson.
It's not a recipe for success to throw that much money out there.
Guess we'll never know, but the Ravens aren't set up for success right now either. So that's why I said Eric
They have
DeCosta really
Lamar.
dropped the ball. They have Lamar,
They
but
have
he got
Lamar.
hurt. I got some
That
hot
is their
takes about Lamar.
success.
So
That is their success.
Lamar isn't
Lamar
Josh Allen.
is their success. Lamar to the Ravens is what Joe Burrow is to the Bengals.
They're just going to take Jeremiah
Save
Love
us.
at number 14 and call it a day.
Save us.
Yeah, no.
Save us.
Yeah, no. There's going to be a lot of Ravens slander this year when they suck from me because of what they did. Not even that I'm upset about getting Max Crosby back. Now we have Max Crosby and your center, so that's great. I must just be on a warpath today because I'm just drilling into teams. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this longer episode. We've been doing a better job of not doing that, but once you get on a rant or two and have a lot of stuff to talk about, that's where you get. So let us know down below who your guys' fan favorite signings are, whether it be your team or just a good signing for a different team. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and all that fun stuff. Share, especially if you saw some hot takes and you're like, hey, this guy just totally crapped all over your team. Watch this. Maybe that's something you want to do. I don't know. I wouldn't complain. I'm not opposed to being listed as a hater because everything that I said was true. You don't like facts? Sucks. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one and enjoy your weekend. Peace.
No games episode.